This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. And just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barreiro's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
It's be a good opportunity for Brett Blakemore filling in for Guardsy today and tomorrow to spread his top 5 at 5 wings. Before he does that, response to our discussion on the Dan Serafini story from Lawyer Guy. That juror's statement to the media will now be the subject of appeal. Conviction based on a fear that if you're wrong, it'll happen again to someone else is not beyond a reasonable doubt. The quote did catch my eye as well as rather eye-opening. The quote basically was, well, if it wasn't him, who was it? Based on what I've read in the case, there was greater evidence than that was a part of the court record. But it was a rather curious comment from one of the jurors after the fact. And remember, afterwards, jurors, it's up to them whether they talk. Reporters routinely attempt to get them to, give some sense of the reasoning. That particular reasoning did not look all that persuasive or impressive, one could say. Top 5, where do you want to begin, Brett Blakemore?
Time now for the obligatory Kevin Fallness Minnesota Wild mention.
Yes, July 16 still can get it in here because the Wild schedule just came out along with the rest of the NHL schedule.
It did.
First game, October 9th, away to St. Louis to play the Blues. And then home opener Saturday the 11th, once again against Dean Evison and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nothing more out of note besides you get to see the new look Mammoth later in the month in October on the 25th. But it is an NHL schedule. They play everyone twice, and the division opponents a little more. Okay,
and have you done the deep dive into it's unforgiving early, then it loosens up, or it's pretty loose and favorable early? I have a hard time doing the only schedule I'm willing to analyze to that degree is an NFL schedule because obviously it's only 17 games. And now if the NHL, it's 84 rather than 82. I'm not going to break it down to that degree. Maybe Fallness would. By the way, speaking of Fallness, what's his hyperventilation score right now?
97?
Regarding 97.
If I had to guess, probably little. Probably that it's going to get done eventually, and he's going to be patient.
Really believes, or is that what he feels like he has to say, given his position?
Well, you'd have to ask him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm still kind of panicked a little bit. Maybe not as much, because maybe they're just waiting on something, but well,
you know what they're waiting for? They're waiting for Russo to get back from Spain.
Think about
it. They can't make that kind of announcement without Russo being here.
That'd be nice. If that's all they're waiting for, let's get it done. But, so good for the Wild. They've got the schedule out. Let's go to what you alluded to earlier. Now, full disclosure.
How many national games do we have? Do they break it down that way?
Are
we well respected this year, or are we taken for granted?
If I had to guess, probably not a lot. But we'll see. Hey, the cap handcuffs are off. They're loose. So
yeah, well, good luck with that.
Yeah. Full disclosure, this was not in my top 5 at 5.
Right,
but then we a late edition because Bradley Beal.
I didn't even know it. Gleeman actually brought it to my attention. I had missed this completely.
3-time NBA All-Star Bradley Beal is going to the Clippers. The Suns are buying out his contract. Clippers 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after he clears waivers. So there you go. Another potential Timberwolf not coming to Minnesota.
The price is very, very reasonable, obviously, because you don't have to mess with the $52 million. Johnny and I had talked about it, and Johnny had said, "Look, at $5 million, I'm a lot more interested in Bradley Beal, given his talent, than I would be, obviously, at his existing contract." And there's no arguing with that. But I will tell you, and perhaps I'll regret this. I'm actually relieved that the Wolves were not in on this, or in the end, we're not in on it enough to get him. I might be overreacting to the bad karma in Phoenix, but he has just struck me as a guy who obviously, has always had abundant offensive talent. He's a very skilled player. But, I'm trying to change the metric a little bit where it's more about, okay, and this is a little bit more esoteric and it's a little bit harder sometimes to prove, but I'm more interested in is, can he help you win? Is he a winning player? Can he help you win? He really hasn't won much. Now, you can't put all that on him, but I thought he was part of the dysfunction in Phoenix. So even though, he's a talented player, I think the Wolves are better off without going down that particular road. I'm not even sure how much he helps. I'm trying to figure out where he plays. Would he insist on starting? Who do you start? That whole bit. I'm not, I guess, high enough on him at this point where I'm thinking, God, what a bad miss, because the price is obviously very entertaining. So he goes to the Clippers, right? You said 2 years, $11 million.
Yep. Speaking of the Wolves, they're playing a summer league game right now. The fan has learned.
Really?
They are down 42-32 against the Suns. What have you landed on with the pronunciation? Jean Beringer?
Beringer. I thought you think it's Beringer.
I don't know.
I think it's Beringer, but I don't know for sure. In fact, I think you could chalk this up to the Terrence Shannon factor, because I think they finally sat him. I don't think he's playing in this game this afternoon. He's been very good. I was shocked they played him yesterday, but I think as it goes on, you end up sitting more of your established players, where you say, what else are we going to really get out of it from his standpoint? So I don't think he's playing today.
Beringer?
No, Shannon.
Shannon is not.
Right. How many block shots for Beringer? That's all I care about is the block shot number for Beringer.
He's got one from the first half.
Oh, well,
yep.
Okay.
So they're in halftime right now. He's got 6 points. Let's see. Miller and Bailey also have 7 apop. Dillingham is 1 from 7 from the field. It's not going to cut it with 4 points. So they're losing, but it's summer league. So a team that is playing those significant games.
Who's that?
Which I've been as guilty as everyone. I'm not, because I said, we're in the abyss. All-Star game. That means no baseball. Nothing's going on. Lynx are playing some basketball, and they're playing well. They won today 79-66 over the Phoenix Mercury. They're 20-4. That's a pretty damn good record, and it's hard to ignore at this point.
Yeah, they've been outstanding. They continue to have, I think, by 3 or 4 games, the best record in the league. And as I think we've laid out on this show from the start of the season, if you're in the position the Lynx were in after last year, you have one goal, and that's home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, right? Because you can make the argument that was the difference. Maybe that affected even the officials' call, the non-travel call in the decisive game, WNBA Finals last year against New York. So almost from the beginning, you feel like, well, what else can you do? Well, win the title, but how about give yourself maybe the best chance to win the title with that added incentive of, if there is going to be a decisive final game at the end of this year's WNBA Finals, it will be played in Minnesota. They've put themselves in great position to do that. Now, remember, there's still 20 games to go, right? Because it's now a 44-game season. But they're in very good position. Now they prepare for All-Star Week. And now I guess we just wait to find out whether they're going to sign the big Belgian star who has been out of the WNBA. I think it's been at least 3 years. She's considered the best professional women's basketball player who is not right now with a WNBA team. She used to play with Nafisa Collier. The assumption is she would want to come here to a team that's winning that well, to play with a player that she knows that well. We created roster space where we can afford her, and she could be coming in here. So right now, that's the only other story is, can you add a significant talent, not named Angel Reese at this point? And that's what I think Meesman represents. So we'll see where that story goes.
The MLB All-Star Game was last night. I don't know how much you caught of it, but I'm curious to get your take on the challenges, because that's a topic that has come up on Bumper to Bumper a long time. Reviews, replays, challenges. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you have to get it right? I think that, in my opinion, was the perfect example of, it was quick, it was easy, and if you didn't like a call, we don't have to spend and get ejected arguing over it and kick dirt at the umpire, just tap your helmet, and in a second, we'll tell you if they were right or they were wrong. Did you catch any ball strike challenges?
No, I did not. I would say that challenges at an all-star game should be a contradiction in terms. But you say at least it went quickly. Is that the deal?
That's the whole sell, basically, is they have the technology. They've been doing it in the minors for years.
Right.
To do it very quickly and show it on the big screen so everyone in the park sees it too. You see it on the broadcast, and it's done in a second and a half. One
of the highlights for me, without any question, was I was not watching the game at this point, but I did watch it after the fact because some people tweeted links to it. Clayton Kershaw being mic'd up while on the mound and naming the pitch, whether he was going to throw a fastball or a curveball. I think, in fact, he said the catcher asked for a, what was it? Was it a sinker? I don't remember what the pitch was. He said, I don't even throw that pitch. But having, in that environment, him talking, in sort of stream of consciousness fashion, as he's trying to get a hitter out, it was very entertaining. And again, it's the All-Star game, so it's absolutely perfect. I thought that was very fun.
Did they at least pot it down when he started to throw and went, and started to just hear that every time?
They didn't, because you did hear the grunt. Yeah, okay. That was actually, I think, made it a little bit more authentic. That was with Kershaw. I don't know, maybe they did it with other pitchers as well, but that was, I thought, one of the highlights last night.
All right, for number 5, I've got 2 options for you.
Okay.
Neither one of them you have much interest in, so I'll let you pick.
Right.
I can either go the golf story, or I can go the soccer story.
Let's go soccer.
All right, the Loons are playing LAFC tonight. I think it's a 7:30 kick. Now,
will you be there?
I will.
Oh, you will? Good for you.
Here's my thing with, they're playing really well, and it's easy when, they're a mid-team, like a lot of our teams in town, where they're all right. They might squeak in, but I think they're second in the Western Conference. So I guess my question would be going forward is, at what level, do they have to be the best team in the MLS for us to be what's
it going to take?
What's the bar they have to reach, the glass ceiling they have to break as far as winning before, we might have to look at it.
When you say we, you mean the larger sports population? You mean this show? What do you mean specifically? Who's the we?
I would say the sports population in town.
I think
because they're not approaching it for me,
right?
At least for me, they are. But for the general Joe Schmo, they're probably not.
They're not. No, I don't think they're close yet. I would guess. I don't want to say winning a title, but having a chance to go for a title. I think at that point it would be ratcheted up a decent amount. But I think short of that, it's obviously the people who are into it, but I still don't think there's necessarily mass interest, mass appeal regarding the sport. And you're part of the reason why, probably because you so constantly denigrate this level of soccer.
Which is true. I am guilty of that.
You can't have it both ways.
And I'm going tonight because a former player of my team that I follow in England is playing against them for LAFC, so that's why I'm going tonight.
It all works.
I think they could win the title, though.
Really?
And I think that would be... it's obviously not the core 4, but it'd be fun.
It'd be fun. It'd be refreshing.
It'd be a parade of a male sport. When's the last time we've had that?
It's been quite some time, for sure.
There you have it.
Bonus bucks?
Yes, the fan of BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com and the keyword bonus. Keyword bonus, KFAN.com, keyword bonus.
Don't forget, Mr. Kessler joins at about 5:30 today. One of the things we might discuss, in fact, we might even mention it now, a $70 pastrami sandwich? We'll explain next.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
No app.
Kessler's in the house. He'll join us next segment. There's a lot to get. We might even talk a little bit of. Is it fair to say there's already a Minnesota State Fair controversy that is breaking out? We might discuss, and there are several hard news items to get into with Special K as well. I'll tell you what. Just for the sake of consistency, let's go ahead and keep this going in the direction that we have been taking it.
News on the march!
Hard news? I don't know. Might want to get the Special K reaction to it. StarTribune.com. Delegates will gather Saturday at Target Center in Minneapolis for the citywide DFL convention, where if you want kosher or halal food, be ready to spend $70 for a pastrami sandwich, $60 for a schnitzel sandwich, or $55 for a chicken kebab. What? This is where, of course, DFL party candidates for mayor and the park board will vie for the party's endorsement during the convention. Jacob Fry challenged by what is described as nearly a half dozen candidates. But what's gotten everybody's attention, at least going in, are those prices. While some of the candidates will boast about their Democratic Socialist bona fides, the kosher and halal food prices will be positively capitalistic, they write. Most of the other menu items will cost less than $20. You can get a hot dog for $8. But the Target Center hires Holy Land Restaurant to provide halal meals and Prime Deli to provide kosher meals, which must be ordered in advance. After the high prices were reported by Racket on Monday, the DFL said a limited number of kosher and halal meals would be provided by the party at a, quote, sliding scale price. What does that even mean? And the donors had stepped up to cover the cost of a handful of meals. Minneapolis DFL chair John Marist said, the consternation over prices absolutely justified, but we're helping people who need help. I firmly believe that we're not driving people away because of this, he said. There is no DFL markup on any of the food. This is what the Target Center charges. What is, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know what schnitzel is. Part-time guy Brett Blakemore, are you familiar with, have you ever had a schnitzel sandwich?
I have not, no.
What is schnitzel? I feel like I should know. I think I know what a kebab is. I think I know what I've never been a big pastrami sandwich fan.
It's a thin, boneless cutlet of meat, typically
Schnitzel?
veal, pork, or chicken.
So it can be veal, pork, or chicken. So it's got no relation to hot dog. It's not in the hot dog family. Schnitzel? Apparently not.
Doesn't look like it, although it says
Isn't there
thin
some
cutlet of meat, so it might be up your alley.
Something called Wiener Schnitzel. Doesn't that exist, or am I wrong? Is that just something Kessler's put into my head?
That is the
Wiener
classic.
Schnitzel.
It's made with veal, traditionally served with lemon wedge and French fries.
Lemon wedge. You see, I'm assuming, you just have to spray. You got to put the lemon on there to give it some kind of flavor that it otherwise wouldn't have, or at least then it becomes edible. So if you were, let me ask you this question: if you were required to eat either a pastrami sandwich, a schnitzel sandwich, or a chicken kebab, you have to. Which are you choosing? I'm not asking Kessler. I'm asking you.
Well, I was looking for advice because I'm not a great food mind.
What are you?
Yeah.
You a chicken nuggets kind of a guy?
I'm a tendies guy.
Okay.
Cheese pizza guy. I by that logic, I would go chicken kebab, but I don't know what else is in there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I guess it might depend on the flavoring. Whatever, you might like it, you might not. The kebab. I think I'd lean that way. I've never been a pastrami guy.
No, not the kebab. I just Googled it. I don't think
not going to work.
That's in.
So you might. So now you're thinking maybe
I might go back to pastrami.
Maybe schnitzel. We'll find out what Kessler would select, and we'll find out if he's going to show up at the convention. People are having fun with this story because there's not really a lot of substance to it. But I do think part of why it has some staying power is the perception issue of why would anything cost $70 at a convention? Why? It comes off as a little bit of that, that a little bit of that elitist thing that I don't think is the image that any party, certainly not the DFL, is interested in sort of building upon and emphasizing. But there's, again, part of it is, according to the story, special preparation for this stuff, which we get, that still sounds like in an event that's supposed to be about democracy at work and we're all in this together. Yeah, like a schnitzel sandwich, that'll be $60. Huh? Yeah, 60. Sorry, man. That's the price. Is that for like 4 schnitzel sandwiches or 1? And they go, no, you got one sandwich, $60. Well, how about forget the schnitzel? How about pastrami? Yeah, that'd be 70. Well, what's in the pastrami sandwich? Gold? How could that be $70? Kessler, you would go for I'm guessing you go pastrami sandwich. Are you a pastrami guy?
Not often, but when they're made properly, absolutely.
Oh, I see. A pastrami.
I'd pay $70.
Yeah.
Of course, I got that.
Well, yeah.
$70 is nothing to Pat Kessler. Just walking around.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you've never paid $70 for a sandwich in your life. Not that you can't, but that you never have. For a sandwich.
Absolutely not. And as a matter of fact, the best pastrami sandwich on the planet.
Cecil's Deli?
Cecil's is unbelievably
Is that still open
good.
or Cecil's?
No, Cecil's is absolutely open.
Okay.
Great Reuben sandwiches there.
Okay.
But the Carnegie Deli in New York City.
Yes.
I looked it up before I came in again. But the sandwich, which is probably a pound of pastrami.
Literally a pound, like you said.
Eat it for 2-3 meals.
Correct.
$20. $20.
You just looked this up?
I did.
And it's $20 at the Carnegie Deli?
$20.
And $70 at the convention.
Sorry.
Man, in Minneapolis.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
You could probably.
I would have thought it would be reversed. I would think, it's New York. It's Carnegie.
Absolutely.
You want the best. You're going to have to pay for it.
You could probably have them sent in from the Katz Delicatessen in New York City.
And cheaper.
Yeah, and
cheaper.
it would be just as cheap or cheaper. That's the I'll have what she's having deli.
Yeah, but that's not going to pay off the legal fees, though. You got to get that.
That's a good point.
That money paid off.
Schnitzel, think German chicken fried steak, writes Joe in Tucson, listening poolside. Must be, I bet you it's a dry heat in Tucson right now. All right, let's do this. Bottom of the hour break. We'll continue this conversation. We'll get into several other very controversial stories with Special K, Pat Kessler. If you have questions for him, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. It was another tour de force press conference on the fly by the president today, which I want to get to as well. In fact, I think he was welcoming big shot president premier from, I can't remember the country. I'll find out during the break. And that poor guy just tried to sit there while the president did what he tends to do in those media briefings.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
State.
I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Pat Kessler. Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
Pat Kessler.
Tear down this wall.
I did nothing wrong at the Minneapolis airport.
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy. Pat Kessler.
And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own
Pat Kessler.
Political Wonk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
Come on.
It's Channel 4's
Pat Kessler.
with Dan Barreiro on the Fan.
Pastrami sandwich, writes 612 guy. Cecil's is number one. Crossroads Deli, a close second.
Yeah, that's Cecil's. It makes the best. I mean, it's really, really good. I love the Reuben there. And yeah, it's great deli.
So what's in a pastrami? Do you know?
It's from the pastrami family.
I don't think I've ever.
Like
and I'm not a
beef.
Reuben guy. So Reuben's got sauerkraut.
Oh, what's on a pastrami sandwich?
What's on a pastrami? What's on a Reuben?
Mustard and a smile.
No, but what's the meat?
Pastrami.
Pastrami. Okay,
Yes.
that's a kind of meat.
Yes.
What about what's on a Reuben? What's a Reuben? That's the sauerkraut deal, right?
Yes, it is with pastrami. Hold on here.
So, with pastrami
Let's look at to see exactly what pastrami is. What is pastrami versus corned
versus
beef?
Wiener Schnitzel.
You put the lemon spritzer on the Wiener Schnitzel.
Okay.
Pastrami and corned beef are both beef products.
Beef. Okay.
Typically made from brisket and then cured. However, pastrami is smoked and then steamed.
I see.
So, I mean, corned beef, all of these things were developed so they could keep for a long, long time. Keep them in a barrel, let's say, on a ship coming across. What do you think of that?
Is that considered a cure? Is that an uncured meat or a cured meat? The one that can basically be
cured.
out forever.
That is cured.
Cured means that's why you can.
Nah, I wouldn't put it out forever. But again, Carnegie Deli.
Yeah, it's special.
Look it up, kids. I mean, look up an image of it. It is. Is it 6 inches high? I mean, you've been there.
Yes.
It's 6 inches high, at least.
Maybe more.
And it's
imposing when they approach you with it.
I'm going, no.
And you no longer are offended by whatever the price is because there's so much. One of my arguments here over the years, over my decades here, and I'm a big lunch meat guy historically, probably more than I should be because it's not all that healthy for you, is in too many places in this town, there's almost no meat on the sandwich. It's like literally
just one slice.
Like here's one, very simple slice, and then we'll add some cheese.
Here we go.
And whatever, and lettuce. It's like, How about some meat? I mean, if it's
if you're going to give me meat,
and not just Carnegie,
Okay.
if you go to any corner deli in New York, at least historically, you're going to get a sandwich with some damn meat on it.
And I thought maybe this was someone else's order. I mean,
yes, right.
Because I just ordered a $20 pastrami, and I thought, oh my God! But I would pay $50 for sure. Now they're. I'd pay $20 for a pastrami, but yeah, go to Cecil's and what's our listener said? Crossroads.
Crossroads, yeah, the other one. Yeah.
Both of those are great, and if you like pastrami, and I do. But the Democrats seem to get torn up, and this is a great story by Dina Winter with the Star Tribune. Go ahead.
Tom from Savage, great episode of Seinfeld. After seeing. George sees a mention of pastrami as being the most erotic of the cured meats. I don't remember that episode.
Cured
the most
meat.
Erotic of the cured meat. Pastrami. Where does that leave?
Corned.
Where does that leave corned
beef?
Yeah. Well, that's
or saltpeter. I mean, where does where does that leave any of that? But what I love about Dina Winter's story, and this was first reported by The Racket, on Monday, is that the DFL in Minneapolis, they have a limited number of kosher and halal meals to be provided by the party on a sliding scale price.
So what does that mean?
What is that?
That's what
Do you have to come up and prove your income?
I guess that's it.
And bring a pay stub, and then you get to pay less?
I had the same thought.
And then here's
what
the
does
deal.
that mean?
Donors have stepped up to cover the cost of a handful. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Just give me a GD hot dog. Just give me a hot dog. Give me grandma's.
Well, you're the political guy.
I mean,
so
honestly,
again,
God.
This is in the grand scheme of things meaningless, but it becomes meaningful.
It does,
because you're going. What kind of message are you conveying with this? Like you said, get some hot dogs out there on a platter and just, have a couple hot dogs.
Now, critics might say this is a reflection of the wokeness.
Yeah.
They might say that.
They might.
The political correctness and all of that. I mean, this is nothing new. I remember a year where I went to a Democratic state convention, a state DFL convention, and there was an item that was banned at the convention. And I think, I don't know if our listeners could remember this. You know what was banned at the convention? Perfume.
What?
Perfume was banned at the convention.
Are you serious?
In case other convention goers and delegates had some sensory condition that they didn't want to be able to smell the scent of perfume. But now for me, what
about your natural musk?
Well, that's
nothing you can do about that.
That
right?
happens when the convention gavel comes down at the end of the day.
I'm sure it does.
That's all I'm saying. So, me, who's a guy who slaps on some high karate or some
British sterling or brute, yeah.
All my men wear British
Are they
sterling.
wearing nothing at all?
Yeah. So, I slap that stuff on, and so I'm feeling naked going into this place without my high karate.
High karate. God, that brings back memories.
Yeah, so,
that's so good.
Yeah, they banned perfume and cologne one year at the Democratic convention. But,
how are you going to do?
People have their issues. I get it.
Carnegie Dell permanently closed its main Manhattan location in 2016. Did you know that?
Did not.
I didn't either.
I think that's about the last time I was there, 2016.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
After operating for 79 years. Somebody said via the text line that there may be like a Madison Square Garden concession that is ostensibly Carnegie Dell related. I don't know if it's the Carnegie Dell or they're just using the name, whatever the case may be, but it sounds like the original founded
look that up,
in 1937.
That does surprise me.
It's
that place, every time I'm there, it is never empty. And it's a production line and people are yelling and get on, move it on. They're just yelling at you.
Yeah, it's listed here as in Madison Square Garden. That's where the current one is. So
how about Katz Deli? Because frequently we get a box of items from Katz Deli.
Yeah.
And that's a great one in New York. Let's stick with Cecil's.
Your guy, Adam Platt, says Cecil's This might be a controversy coming up. Cecil's does not make their own pastrami. Is that controversial?
That is controversial, but I mean, how are you going to do that? I mean, you got to have a pretty good production line. So where do they get him, Adam? I think Adam needs to find this out. A good reporter would have found that out.
Yeah, maybe,
and I haven't.
Well, maybe he needed to flesh us out, get a reaction, and maybe that'll be the next thing he sends.
I'm really having a hard time with it.
I figured that you would.
So no, I did not know that, but that's a great item from Adam Platt.
All right, let's get to some stuff from your list, including. So as I understand it, the state has rested in the Nicole Mitchell case. Is that correct?
That is correct. The prosecution has rested, and so defense begins tomorrow. And this has been a pretty unusual case of the Minnesota state senator, Nicole Mitchell, who broke into her stepmother's house in Detroit Lakes, dressed like a cat burglar from Batman, the 60s television series. And
was she more the Julie Newmar Catwoman or the Eartha Kitt Catwoman?
Oh, that's
very different.
Very different
approaches by those two fine actresses.
Yes, I would probably say the Julie Newmar.
All right, Julie Newmar.
But why I am being pushed onto this road on this very, very serious issue.
Yeah, you're right. It is a serious issue.
You know, very serious. Shame on me.
Well, you brought it up. So, but
I know I did. In
all honesty, do we know what the defense contention or her contention has been from the beginning? That if it's just, I just want to check on welfare, that her welfare, that she would find it necessary to basically break in the way she did.
A couple of things about that from some of the testimony, and it's streaming, and you can watch the trial. Different local news organizations. So I watched a little bit of it, and they are claiming that she went to check on her stepmother's condition and welfare because, according to Nicole Mitchell, over the months she has become a lot more distant, a lot more hostile. She began, and I did not know this, barricading the doors from the inside. They had not had any meaningful contact for some time, so she was breaking in. And if she was checking on her welfare, that is kind of an unusual way of doing it. She had a number of items in her and lists in a backpack that she squeezed in. She went up to her stepmother's room, and that's when her stepmother was awakened and started screaming, and she ran out and tried to get out, and the police came and the whole deal. But the defense says she was just in there to check on her. And their one line from their opening statement was, a burglar would run away. A concerned daughter would stay. But there's evidence from the prosecution that she was there for other reasons. And they had a friend of the mother, quoting the mother as saying she was worried that she was going to do her harm, that she might want to hurt her. And that she was money hungry and greedy and maybe wanted to figure out some way that she could get some of the money after her father died a couple of years previous. So yeah, they have rested, and now the defense will begin its questioning tomorrow, calling up witnesses.
So this may be an unanswerable question yet. Do we know whether the defense will call Nicole Mitchell to testify?
Well, that was a question that the lawyer was asked today. Her lawyer was asked today, and he said he doesn't know. It's up to her if she wants to testify. That would be some very dramatic testimony. And among the things that she's claiming is that her stepmother has Alzheimer's. Carol Mitchell is 75 years old, struggling with that illness, that terrible illness that many families do. And in fact, on the witness stand yesterday, sadly, she struggled to answer simple questions about family members' names. I believe she didn't exactly know the date of her husband's death. Things that were kind of sad to see in public.
Right.
So I believe that they will press that issue, and that Nicole Mitchell was there just to check on her mother. But again, it's a very unusual way to do such a thing.
When did this trial open?
Monday. Jury selection began on Monday. Now, this has been delayed for a couple of days.
Right.
Through the courts. Her lawyer, who is really quite good, Bruce Ringstrom, he is from the Clay County area, Fargo-Moorhead area, and he has been able to delay it while she remains in the legislature, and she has not been expelled despite numerous attempts by Republicans to expel her from the legislature. And then it was delayed once again with the terrible murders and assassination of Mark and Melissa Hortman and the shootings of a couple of state senators. So it has begun. It probably is going to wrap up this week, and we might have a verdict.
It's been fast, yeah, I was going to say. So the charges are attempted burglary and felony charges of attempted burglary and possession of burglary tools.
Yes, and so you have to. They are conceding. Nicole Mitchell and her attorney are conceding she broke into the house, and if this was a simple trespass, then she would plead guilty to trespassing. But they charged her with burglary, and she asked the cop on the body cam, and the body cam is really interesting because you're seeing what appears to be a burglar in the house dressed in burglar clothes. But they're saying that she have intent to burglarize the home. She said that she was going to retrieve some of her father's items, her late father's items, including a flannel shirt and some other things. Was she planning on burglarizing the home? Is that enough for a burglary? And that's what it's all going to hinge on.
All right, let's also talk about the developments in the Belter case. He is, it's believed he will plead not guilty following the grand jury indictment that accuses him, of course, of stalking and shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their families last month. That is according to his attorney. We had the acting U.S. attorney yesterday speak at a pretty extensive press conference. I think this is at least the second one that he has had since the original day, the first big day. What did you take out of, how the prosecutors, I guess, have added to this story? What else they've learned from the last time they've gone public? What struck you as the most interesting or compelling aspects in terms of the development of this case?
Well, a couple of things. First, we know now that he had stalked numerous DFL legislators, and he had done this for a couple of weeks, or maybe longer. Added on his hit list was the daughter of John and Yvette Hoffman. We did not know that before. And he actually shot at her, tried to kill her, and so that was added to this. But the stalking, the murders, the shootings, all of that could mean a capital offense, and they could get the death penalty under the federal law. But the other part of this was that we knew there was a letter. We knew there was a hit list. We knew that he conducted surveillance. We got proof of that in this indictment. But there is a letter that he wrote out to the prosecutor, or in his car as he was about to be captured and thought he was going to be killed. And so it's this long, rambling letter about why he did it and that it's a conspiracy. And this is the first time we've actually seen that letter. Very odd. He says that he had been approached by Governor Walz to assassinate Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith, Minnesota's 2 U.S. senators, because Walz really wants to be a senator and was trying to get them out of the way so he would have an easy shot at it. And he says that he refused to do it, and then Walz threatened his family and threatened him. So this is a really oddball thing. And, I mean, it's worse than odd. And he also claimed that Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, is in on it, and he was going to end up being lieutenant governor. So it's just weird stuff. And you don't know if he wrote it while he was on the lam to exonerate himself, to give a reason, to prove that he's mentally ill, whatever it is. It is really creepy, and I'm glad we saw it, but it just, is it a window into the mind of somebody who's mentally ill? Maybe he's trying to set it up the way. Who knows? We also got in here a lot of how his life changed from trying to be a security officer, trying to be a religious guy, to a merchant of death. I don't know if you've read this part of the indictment, but in it they describe how he then became somebody who went and picked up bodies at night from homicide scenes, from private homes, from shooting, car crashes, all of these kinds of things. Something that you would think would have an effect on somebody in a PTSD way, and that he had a job extracting eyeballs for organ donors. And so that is the state of mind that this dude was in. In all, it was extremely troubling, these indictments, and they're moving forward with it full steam ahead.
Acting U.S. Attorney for Minnesota Joe Thompson, was it a delusion that he believes, or was it a delusion that is designed as an effort to discredit our investigation, or to frankly excuse his crimes? Well, that's a good question. It certainly seems designed to excuse his crimes. There's nothing logical about the letter, as you say. There's a lot of delusion in it, it appears. But if you want to try to take it at face value, can you answer me this question? Because I've not heard it answered yet, and maybe I'm completely missing something. If it's supposed to be any sort of justification for what he did, how do the individuals he went after get earmarked or targeted? Because how do you get from, the governor wanted me to take out these people, including Amy Klobuchar, so I went ahead and murdered some other people? That's part of what makes no sense.
Yeah, that is, and Joe Thompson said this, we don't know what the motive actually is. We have no idea why he was going down this path, because it seemed pretty extensive, and the planning, the training, the surveillance, the stalking, the research into all of these people. It had to go on for months, and none of his friends knew about it. That is the really oddball part of this.
All right, let's do this. Let's break. I got a couple other things on this story, and then we got several other stories to try to get to squeeze in as we continue with Special K, Pat Kessler. 64686, that's the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, bumper to bumper.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Bumper continues next.
Get ready, comedian Nate Bargatze is bringing 2 nights of laughs to the XL Energy Center. Don't miss out on the hilarity when he takes the stage Saturday, July 26th and Sunday, July 27th with the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Limited tickets still available. Get all the details, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Was it Kurt Bills?
Part 2 with Special K, Pat Kessler, joining us this afternoon on the Fan. All right, let me pick up where we Well, I think I think to a large degree we've covered most of what needs to be covered regarding the updating the stories that need to be updated at this point.
Yeah, I'm still rocked by Adam Platt's comments.
Oh, well, he did it. I'm glad you brought him up because he did follow.
Yeah, honest to God, either I forgot or I never knew that.
So the Platt, here we go. Originally what he sent out was Cecil's does not make their own pastrami. You said, well, then where do they get it? He says Chicago. Now, for the record, he also says they do make their own corned beef. So he's trying to be, fairness and savagery.
Now, there's a good reporter.
They do make their own corned beef.
I'd call him fair and balanced.
I don't like either. Now,
who are you?
My parents loved pastrami and corned beef. I just never. I was like I'm more of a. When it comes to lunch meat, I'm a little blander. I just like ham. I like turkey.
Yeah.
I like chicken. I like all those. I'm not as big on it getting too exotic.
How about Braunschweiger?
I don't know. What's that like? I'm afraid to ask.
How about summer sausage?
Isn't there one called tongue? Isn't there beef tongue?
Absolutely.
And it looks hideous in the deli counter.
Yeah, we used to have that all the time on the farm.
What's that made of?
I have no idea. Don't ask.
Just eat it.
And then also big favorite, head cheese.
Head cheese is another one.
Cheese.
That doesn't look at all like cheese to me.
And just if you have it with blood sausage, then
you're naming all
it's
of
the
them
best.
That have scared me.
Yeah, get some Braunschweiger someday.
I'm trying to get some Braunschweiger.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's save the text. So I talked about this a couple times. You have your own assessment regarding. The story's a little old, but it's worth probably revisiting one more time. That because it made news that in fact we had to pay the state of Minnesota had to pay upwards of $430,000. I don't remember the exact amount. That was the price tag on the prep to help Governor Walz when he testified in front of Congress. So lay out what I guess you did. I mocked it. I'm fully aware of the theater that had nothing to do with really trying to get to anything of substance. Frankly, I think that's the way of most of these hearings anymore. But I still am having, and I know other governors. I think the bill was higher. There's still something inherently bothersome about because he, as you wrote, he's Walz, and I get it. I don't want to get caught on perjury, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, these guys didn't have to answer any questions because the people asking the questions were just doing speeches, and they didn't even really have to say anything. They basically said, "Okay, I'm done." So, how do you feel about this one?
I was very surprised, honestly. $430,000. Governor Walz is very competent. He's a smart guy. He was
a member of Congress.
A member of Congress for 10 years. He has managed the Minnesota state budget for 8 years. This is a very complicated, very high level, very challenging job. And he's been handling it. You don't have to like the way he's handled it, but he understands all this stuff. And so he is adept enough, I thought, to go in there with his knowledge and just answer questions and parry and thrust as they do.
Yes.
But that really surprised me. Not just that not that he was getting prepared, because I know governors and senators, you want to prepare for testimony.
Yes.
And you're going to write a statement, whatever it is. But $430,000 to an outside law firm who is doing everything from reviewing letters, and it's supposed to be a hearing about something that you championed. And we're not a sanctuary state, but we do welcome immigrants, and we do have different programs for undocumented immigrants here. And he's getting hammered for that. But the number really did surprise me. And yes, there are other politicians who spend more, but it turned into such a silly thing. Is that where we've become?
Yes, it is.
It's turned into something so silly that one by one, the Minnesota Republican delegation came in. They're not even on the committee. Came in just to rip him.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know why he did this, and then he didn't try to hide it, but he didn't tell anybody. That's the thing.
Lastly, so this continued today. Trump had, I can't remember the dignitary he had in with him, what country. I'll find it in a minute. But the way these things go now, these briefings, is that person has to sit there and just listen while Trump answers about 50,000 questions. And again, a lot of them were trying to follow up on him savaging part of his own MAGA constituency that he says continues to be obsessed with a story that is no longer, if it ever was, a story having to do with the Epstein files, correct? And that that there's some Republicans who fell for this thing, and that's on them, and I don't need them. Whatever
then I
the case
withdraw
may be.
my affection from you. I don't want weakness.
That's exactly it.
And I don't want you to support me.
So what do we make of this whole thing exactly? Because here's to me the question. I think once upon a time, there were both lefties and righties who said something smells bad about all of this, and I think they're hiding some stuff, okay? Well, then it became a talking point for including the president's son. We played a montage of a series of Republicans who just hammered on this issue. The Dems don't want this out. They're hiding it. What's the problem? These people are sickos. It needs to be taken care of. And then they get in power, and now they're saying there's no there there. So either there is no there, even though they whipped up the masses on the front end, fan the flames big time, or they're now hiding something because it might actually end up hurting some Republicans. I don't at this point know what to make of it.
Yeah, it's more chaos, and this is a conspiracy theory that goes all the way back to Donald Trump's first term. You remember QAnon?
Yes, I do. Sadly,
QAnon.
Yes.
And by the way, where is QAnon now? I mean,
good question.
Yeah, I mean, so I know that QAnon kind of took down the billboard, took down the shingle outside the office. But it all started there with the Pizzagate, and there's a pedophile ring, and Hillary Clinton's involved, and somebody went in there and tried to shoot it up. This is an outgrowth of that it is a vast conspiracy of the elite to have a child sex ring of some kind and to traffic in young women and minors, and that they always escape scrutiny and any kind of accountability. Well, the conspiracy theory took hold, and people from Kash Patel in the administration, Dan Bongino in the administration, Pam Bondi, all of the tech bros, I mean, the podcast bros, all of those guys have pushed this for a long, long time. So it wouldn't be so bad if, it would be bad no matter what, but it wouldn't be so bad if they had not trafficked in this themselves. But to say we're going to release a list of names, we've got the files, they brought people to the White House, and they came out with binders saying Epstein files, phase 1. I mean, they pushed this. But then to turn around literally overnight and say, there's nothing. There's no list. There's no files. There's nothing here. There's nothing we can do. That is what is really bothering a lot of people. So, yeah, and you talk about the Crown Prince of Bahrain was in there today.
Was the guy was there today.
He's
kind of amused watching
this
whole theater play out. Now, so how do you factor in what do we make of the House Speaker, Mike Johnson? He's saying, even as late as I think today, release the files. So how do we factor this in?
Well, he said today that my remarks are misunderstood. Me and Trump are on the same page, but we need to release some of the files. Okay. You know, that's what they're saying. Right. But then Trump is now pushing this ridiculous, absurd, this jaw-droppingly astonishing theory and conspiracy theory that these files were actually written by Obama.
Yeah, right.
And Hillary.
And the Republicans fell into the trap.
Yeah. But why didn't they use them against Trump in the first term? Or the second election, or this one. It's ridiculous. And the bottom line is, who's in the files? And that's what people want to know. And ladies and gentlemen, Trump will be in these, just as Bill Clinton will be in these. Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane
times,
20 times. Right. Trump flew 7 times on the plane. But look at you want to think that the reason he's doing this, it's the only logical thing I can think of, is that he doesn't want his involvement, even if he's not involved in the crazy illegal stuff, doesn't want to be associated with this. And I saw somebody say the other day that there are more photos of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein than there are photos of trans athletes in the NCAA. Whoa. By a lot. I mean, there's tons of video, and they're just having a great old time, but now Trump has no idea who the dude is.
It's like I said,
it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
The funniest part about it, as I said, is he never complained about all the time his minions spent building this up over the last several years. And now he's acting like he's annoyed by, why don't these people leave me alone, when it was his own people.
Only a stupid person would ask that kind of a question. That's what he said. I mean, what are you doing?
Basically where we're at. All right, we're unfortunately out of time.
Dang it.
Thank you.
Again.
Go eat some Wiener Schnitzel.
I'm gonna get some pastrami. Maybe I'll be stopping at Cecil's on their way home.
I guarantee you it ain't $70 a sandwich.
I would pay that.
I know you would.
For a Cecil's.
Well, you could afford that. You wouldn't pay it, but you could afford that.
Well, true enough.
We're well aware of that.
True fact.
We'll come back.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Wrap up the show.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
It's brought to you by American Pressure.
All right. I think a pretty wide-ranging program today. Our latest example of the land of 10,000 fraud cases was how we started the program. We didn't get into that subject, actually, with Kessler because we had so much else on the platter, but it's the start of the show, and you can find plenty of news on it via all the usual outlets, including, of course, StarTribune.com. And in this case, this doesn't appear as big as Feeding Our Future, but it's classified as a massive fraud scheme, including or related to the state housing program. A number of sites searched as a result of this particular investigation. Another embarrassing episode for your state. That was early. We had a great in-studio visit with Aaron Gleeman, talking all things Minnesota Twins between 3:30 and about 4:30. Kessler joined after News on the March and after the Top 5 at 5. He was in studio from 5:30 on. So we thank Kessie and Aaron Gleeman for 2 outstanding in-studio visits. Blakemore is going to be back with me tomorrow. Guardsy is also out tomorrow, I think, with some Gopher duties. And then I think Guardsy's back on Friday. The good news for us is that on tomorrow's program, we did the inbox early in the week because Guardsy was going to be out on Thursday. But what we do have is a visit tomorrow at 3:15 with Tom Crean, who's become a great contributor to this program, former college basketball coach at both Marquette and Indiana University, not to mention the University of Georgia, where he coached Anthony Edwards. And I just thought it would be kind of like a Crean catch-up, where we maybe talk a little bit about his view regarding who the Wolves got in the draft, sort of the direction the Wolves are taking in terms of the offseason moves they have made, and perhaps a couple of other basketball stories. Crean has become really good radio for us, so he is scheduled to join us tomorrow at 3:15, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the docket. We may add another guest as well. So for the Tom Crean fans out there, and I know there's a bunch, he is scheduled to join us early at 3:15 this very afternoon. Are you going to go out? Is it possible that you will go out and try to eat your first pastrami sandwich? Have you been inspired at all by our conversation today, Brett Blakemore, to eat your first? Sounds like it'd be your first pastrami sandwich.
I think I'd be more likely, after doing further research, to do the chicken kebab, which is hopefully just chicken on a stick.
Yeah.
I think that's my best chance. But no, it's very hard to inspire me to try any new food, unfortunately.
Including a schnitzel sandwich?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for you.
It's a lot of letters that doesn't
we're having
safe.
fun with the story that the Star Tribune had regarding the citywide DFL convention, where it was disclosed that if you want a pastrami sandwich, it'll cost you $70. It'll cost you $60 for a schnitzel sandwich and $55 for a chicken kebab. And he and I both independently were chuckling about the damage control efforts on the part of the Democrats, the DFLers here, saying that a limited number of kosher and halal meals would be provided by the party at a, quote, sliding scale price. Like, what word salad exactly does that refer to? What exactly does that mean? Also, they mentioned the donors had stepped up to cover the cost of a handful of meals. It just seems as if you're just overthinking it, man. Just have a bunch of pre-made sandwiches for $10 each. Don't make this all that difficult, right? It really doesn't need to be. And again, it's odd because it ends up being, I think, it ends up being a bigger story than it needs to be, simply because of what it seems to symbolize. That you're at a convention at which, as the writer wrote, many of the candidates will boast about their democratic socialist bona fides, but you want a sandwich, it might cost you $70. It is in some ways done as a society material, and it's the way a political party can trip itself up. On the other hand, it ain't like a Republican is going to be named mayor, is going to be voted in as mayor of Minneapolis. So to some extent, they can laugh back and say, you can mock this and make fun of it all you want, but it's our town. Doesn't really make all that much difference. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll start it all over again tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on The Fan.
Whenever you call me,
Squishy, spicy. Smoke them if you got them.
whenever you need.
Sayonara, suckers.
I'll be